I never thought I'd be the kind of girl who'd fall for a married man. Honestly, I used to judge women like that. I always thought, how could you do that to another woman? But things are never that black and white when you're in the middle of it. We met at work. He was in a higher position, but not my direct manager, so it didn't feel inappropriate. At first, it was just small talk in the break room or joking during meetings. I noticed him before he noticed me. He was charming, confident, and always seemed to know what to say. There was something about the way he looked at me like he really saw me. Not just a coworker, not just another person in the office. He remembered little things I said, asked about my weekend, noticed when I cut my hair. One day, we ended up leaving work late, just the two of us, and shared a cab. The conversation felt so natural, like we'd known each other forever. I found myself laughing in a way I hadn't in a long time. When we got to my place, he didn't try anything. He just looked at me and said, "You're different." Then he left. A few days later, he texted me, nothing weird, just a meme, something funny. Then another message the next day. And then it just kept going. Soon, we were texting every day, all day. I started looking forward to those messages more than anything else. When I found out he was married, it was almost too late. I asked him directly, and he said yes, but that things had been bad for a while, that he and his wife barely spoke, that they were basically done. I didn't want to believe I was that girl. But I told myself, it's complicated. I told myself he was honest with me, and that counted for something. A few weeks later, we kissed. We were at a work event, had a few drinks, and ended up alone outside, just talking. One minute we were standing close, and the next he leaned in. I didn't stop him. I didn't even want to. After that, things moved fast. We started meeting in private, his car, my place when I knew he could sneak away, even rented motels when we felt bold. Every time I was with him, I forgot the rest of the world. I forgot he was married. I forgot I was supposed to feel guilty. But I wasn't stupid. I knew what it was. I told myself not to fall too deep. I even tried to pull back once or twice, but he always said the right thing to pull me back in. I've never felt this way before. You make me feel alive again. I just need time to end things properly. Those words felt like hope. And I wanted to believe him. I didn't tell anyone. Not my friends, not even my closest ones. I was too ashamed, and I didn't want to hear them tell me I was being naive. I kept it all bottled up. Every emotion, every stolen moment, every lie I told to cover my tracks. Then came the night, everything changed. We were in a motel room, lying in bed after everything. He was playing with my hair, and I asked him, "Do you ever think about what it would be like if things were different?" He didn't answer for a long time. Then he said, "Sometimes I wish I met you first." And just like that, I started imagining what it would be like to really have him. Not just in secret, not just in pieces. All of him. I knew it wasn't realistic, but the idea settled into my heart like it belonged there. Weeks passed. We were still sneaking around. He kept saying he needed more time, that his wife had started to suspect something, that she was watching him more closely. He promised it wouldn't be forever. I believed him. Or, at least I convinced myself I did. And then I missed my period. I didn't panic right away. My cycle wasn't always regular, and I thought maybe it was stress. But after 2 more weeks, I knew something was off. I bought a test on my way home from work, thinking it was just to make sure. But deep down, I already knew. The test turned positive in seconds. I sat there on the bathroom floor, staring at the little lines, shaking. I didn't cry right away. I think I was in shock. Everything felt like it was spinning. I wasn't ready for this. Not mentally, not emotionally, not financially. And definitely not like this. I texted him to come over that night. He said he couldn't. I told him it was important. He still said no. So I waited until the next day. When I finally told him, he just stared at me. No words, no comfort, just silence. Then he said, "Are you sure?" I nodded. He ran his hands through his hair, looked away. This changes everything. I thought he'd hug me, or at least say we'd figure it out. But he didn't. He just sat there, stuck. That's when I felt the first crack inside me. After I told him I was pregnant, something shifted between us. The air got heavier. His texts slowed down. The late-night calls stopped. We still met, but it wasn't the same. He looked stressed all the time, distant, like his mind was always somewhere else. I tried to act normal. I told him I wasn't expecting anything right away, that we'd figure it out together, but inside I was falling apart. I wanted him to say he'd leave her. I wanted him to tell me we could finally be together without hiding. But he never did. Every time I brought it up, he'd change the subject or say, "This is just really complicated right now." He kept promising me time. "Just wait until after the holidays. Just give me until the end of the month. I'm going to talk to her soon." But weeks went by, then months, and nothing happened. I was growing, literally. My body was changing, my emotions were all over the place, and the only person who knew the full truth was pulling away from me. I started avoiding mirrors. I hated seeing my stomach grow when everything around me felt so uncertain. Some days I'd wake up thinking, "I can do this. I'll raise this baby with or without him." Other days I couldn't stop crying. I felt like I was stuck between two worlds, one where I was in love with him and wanted a future, and another where I knew I was completely alone. I didn't tell my family. I couldn't. My parents are strict and traditional. I knew what they'd say. I could already hear the disappointment in their voices, feel their judgment. "How could you be so stupid? He's married. What did you think would happen?" I couldn't handle it.
So elite.
Said I wasn't feeling well, avoided visits, made excuses. There were moments that made me believe he still cared. Like one night, he came over and brought me dinner, rubbed my feet, kissed my belly. He looked at me and whispered, "Maybe this is what was supposed to happen. Maybe this is the start of something real." That one sentence gave me hope for weeks. I started imagining a life where we were a family, just the three of us. A small apartment, late-night feedings, morning walks. He'd leave her, we'd start over, and the baby would be our second chance. It sounds crazy now, but when you love someone, you believe what you need to survive. But deep down, I also started noticing the cracks. He never stayed the night. He'd silence his phone every time we were together. He never posted anything on social media, no pictures, no updates, nothing that could hint that he had a life outside of his marriage. I realized I didn't know much about his world at all. I didn't know what kind of toothpaste he used, what side of the bed he slept on, what he looked like in the morning light. I only knew the version he gave me, the hidden one. Still, I kept hanging on. I told myself it would all be worth it once he left her. I pictured her crying, screaming, maybe even hating me, but I thought, at least it'll be out in the open. At least we won't have to hide anymore. But he never left. At one point, I asked him directly, "Are you ever really going to leave her?"
He paused.
Too long. Then he said, "I want to, but there's so much going on. The timing's just not right." That was the moment I started preparing myself for the truth I didn't want to admit. One night, I had a breakdown. Full-on sobbing in my bed, hugging my belly, whispering apologies to this little life growing inside me. I felt like I failed as a woman, as a soon-to-be mother, as a person. I didn't know how I was going to do it alone. I didn't even know if I could. I looked up clinics. I looked up single mom blogs. I Googled things like, how to tell your parents you're pregnant by a married man. I was lost. I still loved him. That's the part one hates the most. Even after everything, I loved him. I missed him. I wanted him there for ultrasounds, for picking baby names, for rubbing my back when it hurt. But I was slowly starting to accept he wasn't going to be that person. I kept telling myself, just get through one more day. Every little kick from the baby reminded me that time was moving forward, whether I was ready or not. My body didn't care about my heartbreak. It was doing its job, growing a life. And I knew I had to start doing mine. Things couldn't stay hidden forever. Deep down, I think I always knew that. But I still wasn't ready when it all exploded. It started with her finding the messages. I don't know exactly how. Maybe he got careless. Maybe she'd been suspicious for a while. All I know is one night, around 11 p.m., I got a message from him that just said, "She knows." My heart dropped.
He didn't call, didn't explain.
Just those two words. I tried calling him, but he didn't answer. Hours passed. I couldn't sleep. I was sick to my stomach. I kept staring at my phone, waiting for something, anything. The next day, he finally called. His voice was shaky, like he hadn't slept either. He said she'd read some of our texts, that there had been a huge fight.
She cried.
She screamed. She threatened to kick him out, tell everyone, ruin his career. And then she asked the question I'd been dreading for months. Is she pregnant? He told her yes. According to him, she lost it after that. Said she wanted a divorce. Said she couldn't believe he'd humiliate her like this. I listened to him talk, numb. All this time, I had waited for this moment, for the truth to come out, for him to finally leave her. And now that it was happening, it didn't feel like a victory. It felt like chaos. For the next few days, everything was a blur. He was caught in the middle trying to manage the fallout, I didn't hear from him much. When I did, it was short messages. It's bad. I'm trying to fix things. I need time. That last one hit me like a slap. I need time. Time for what? I was carrying his child. I had already given him months of my life in silence and secrecy. And now, when everything was out in the open, he still wasn't sure? I asked him directly, "Are you staying with her?" He hesitated, then said, "I don't know." That answer broke something in me. After everything, after every lie, every promise, every sleepless night, he still didn't know. I realized then that I was never going to come first. He wasn't going to fight for me. He wasn't going to stand up and say, "This is the woman I love." He was scared. Scared of change, of what people would think, of starting over. And maybe, just maybe, he didn't love me the way I thought he did. That week was one of the worst in my life. I couldn't eat. I couldn't stop crying. The baby was growing inside me, and I felt completely alone. I had no one to lean on, no plan, no clarity. Then I got a message from his wife. She said, "I know everything. Don't contact him again." My hands were shaking as I read it. I didn't respond. What could I even say? She was hurt, and she had every right to be. I wasn't the only one he lied to. After that, he pulled away even more. Said he needed to focus on making things right. Said he wasn't ready to talk about the baby. Said he was processing everything. I knew what that meant. He was going back to her. He couldn't deal with the mess, so he chose the path that made him feel safest, even if it meant abandoning me and our child. And that's when the anger finally kicked in. I wasn't just some secret anymore. I was a woman carrying his baby. And he didn't get to just disappear. I wish I could say that after everything came out, things got easier. But they didn't. They got worse. After his wife messaged me, he completely shut down. I didn't hear from him for days. No calls, no texts, nothing. I was in the dark, sitting with my thoughts, my fears, my swollen body, and no answers. I was carrying his child, and he was pretending I didn't exist. At first, I made excuses for him. He's just overwhelmed. He needs time to figure things out. But eventually, I had to face the truth. He was gone. Not physically maybe, but emotionally, mentally, he had checked out. The silence was the worst part. I kept staring at my phone, hoping it would light up. I even tried messaging him once, just a simple, "Can we talk?" No response. It felt like a punch to the chest. That was my breaking point. I was done begging. I was done waiting. I realized I couldn't keep giving pieces of myself to someone who was only taking and never giving anything back. So I told my mom. It was the hardest conversation of my life. I sat her down, heart racing, palms sweaty, and just said it. "I'm pregnant and the father is married." She stared at me for a long time. At first, she didn't say anything. Then she asked, "Is he going to help you?" I just shook my head. She was angry, of course. Disappointed. But surprisingly, she didn't yell. She just looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "You're not the first woman to go through this, and you won't be the last. But you need to be strong now. Not for him, for your baby." It was like something inside me clicked. I stopped waiting for him after that. I stopped checking my phone every 5 minutes. I started planning for a life without him. I booked a prenatal appointment. I started looking at baby names. I even bought a little onesie, white with tiny stars. It was the first thing I bought for my baby, and when I held it in my hands, I cried. Not because I was sad, but because for the first time, I felt something real. Something pure. This baby wasn't a mistake. The situation was messy, yes. But the baby? This life growing inside me? It was mine. And it was innocent. And it deserved love, no matter how it came into this world. I started going to therapy. By the time my due date got close, I had fully let go of him. I didn't expect anything from him anymore. No calls.
No apologies.
No surprise I made a mistake moment. I knew better by then. I had gone through every stage: denial, hope, heartbreak, anger, and what came out of all of it was clarity. I didn't need him to show up. I had already shown up for myself. Labor was long, painful, emotional. I was scared, but I was ready. My mom was there with me, holding my hand, whispering, "You can do this." And I did. I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. She came into this world screaming and perfect, with a full head of hair and the deepest eyes I'd ever seen. The moment I held her, everything changed. All the pain, the confusion, the shame, it didn't disappear, but it got smaller. She was everything. She was love. Pure, honest, unconditional love. And for the first time in months, I felt peace. I gave her my last name. No question about it. She was mine. She didn't need his name to matter. I won't lie and say I never think about him. Sometimes I wonder if he ever thinks of her. If he scrolls through old texts or stares at her ultrasound picture late at night. If he regrets walking away. I'll probably never know. He never reached out again. But I've stopped checking. I'm not angry anymore. I don't need revenge or some grand apology. I just hope he's living with the truth of what he lost. Not me, but her.
His daughter.
Some days are hard. Being a single mom is no joke. I get tired. I cry. I doubt myself. But then she smiles, or she wraps her tiny fingers around mine, and I remember why I chose to keep going. She saved me. If I could talk to him now, I'd tell him this. You may have broken my heart, but you gave me the greatest gift I've ever known. And I'm raising her to never need a man like you. And to any woman reading this who might be in the same kind of secret, heartbreaking situation I was in, I see you. I know it's messy. I know you feel alone. But you are stronger than you think. And the moment you choose yourself, really choose yourself, everything changes. It won't be easy. But it will be worth it. I'm living proof.